back to another episode. I hope you've had a great week. Well, if you joined me last Sunday, you know that we have finished our series looking at the life of Moses and learnt so many amazing things about God and who he is to us as well. Well, this week we're going to be starting something new. Well, sort of new. Because for some of you, we've already started it. But for others, it is new. And that's because during our midweek meetings, we have been looking at the book of James. And from now on our Sundays, we're going to be continuing it. And there's two reasons for this. Firstly, James is an amazing book filled with wisdom and guidance of how to live a Christian life. And secondly, the adults are going to be looking at the book of James as well. So it's something that you can go home and have conversations about. So today I want to do a quick recap of what we've got up to in James, because we're not starting at the beginning, we're going to be kind of jumping straight into the middle, but it'd be great for everybody to be on the same page. So the book of James. First question, where can you find the book of James? Second question, do we know who James is? So James is actually not one of Jesus' disciples. There is a disciple called James, but this James is the half-brother of Jesus. So Jesus had other brothers and sisters, and James was one of them. But James had a bit of trouble believing in Jesus as they were growing up, because wouldn't you, if your brother turned out to be the Son of God, wouldn't you find it a bit hard to really understand what that meant as you grew up with them? But eventually James understood the truth, and he understood who Jesus was, and he became the leader of the church in Jerusalem. And he was a great man and a great teacher, and he led the church through lots of different problems, including things like famine and persecution. So the book of James is kind of like a grouping of all of his best talks, and it's got so much information about things that we can still use today of how to live a Christian life. So how we've been doing it is that every week we've had a word of the week, and that's kind of the word that summed up the passage that we've looked at and hopefully helped people remember the passage throughout the week. So here are the words that we've used, and also a memory verse for each week to help you remember that word. Now these words I know are pretty big, so let me do a quick recap of what they mean. Perseverance means that we keep going no matter what. And if you were with me in the meeting, you know that we did these kind of challenges to keep going even when it got hard, and you guys were amazing. The next one we had was temptation. I'm sure you've all heard that word, but temptation is when we're surrounded by things that we really want, but know we shouldn't have. And God can help us with temptation. After that, we looked at favoritism, and favoritism is when we kind of pick one person over another based on what they look like or what they wear or how they act. And actually God asks us not to judge people based on their appearance or their character, but to love everyone equally. Not easy, but what God calls us to do. After that, we looked at actions and how what we do and what we say need to match up. Because if we say that we love God and then go and be mean to somebody, doesn't really show that we have true faith. And we don't really believe what we're saying. So our actions should match what we believe. And then last time we looked at words and how our tongue is actually really dangerous. And what we say, we can't take back. And that means that we can hurt people unintentionally. We can hurt people with our words. So that's what we've looked at. Isn't that a ton of great advice just from the first few chapters of James? So I hope you join me next week as we continue looking at the book of James and how we can really learn from his wisdom and guidance on how to live a Christian life. So I'll see you then. Bye.